Well, hey everybody. All right, so here you are. You're looking at the RCs. So it's been a crazy summer. We've had some trips. We've done some camping. Had an amazing time trout fishing. And with everything going on in the world, I've always wanted to build RC cars. And I had a few extra dollars, thanks to Uncle Joe's stimulus. And so I wanted to talk about the RC cars and what I've done and what's what. Now, for the most part, they're all WPL. All right. These guys are great. Um, I'm not one to, really promote things, but the trucks, the price, the customer service, it's phenomenal. Okay. So, like I said, in previous videos, I've stated, I'm learning about this. Well, now I understand it a bit better. So, we're going to start off, Amazon order, ready to run truck. It was the C14. Okay, well, I lucked out and I got the metal axles and the actual servo and proportional steering. Okay, so I haven't done much. This is the one I put a hitch on. Um, and then what had happened? My son wanted one. He wanted the he wanted a truck. So I ordered a cheap one on Amazon. And what it is, what he ordered was the JJRC. We got the transporter. And really, it's a B series chassis, but it was toy grade. It had the toy steering servo, the 6-volt battery. You know, um, it was a toy. And it was cool, but it was fast. It was faster than the C14, but it had no gearing, it had no power. So my son really didn't like it. He really wanted the 6x6, and I didn't understand. And after comparing the two, and I looked on, the websites and learned more about it. So we get the WPL, the B16. That's the 6x6 he wanted. Well, I ordered it on Amazon, and um, it was a cheap kit, like $60, but it was the toy grade. It came with the toy steering servo and the 6-volt battery. Well, before I realized what I was doing, I put in the 7.4 from the Ready to Run C14 while I fried the board. I'm like, all right, son, I'm sorry. So I took mine apart. I took the proportional steering and the receiver out, and I put it in his. And having the 7.4 volt and the proportional steering, the B16 really, night and day difference. So he was quite impressed. He likes it. You know, uh, we're looking on, we're debating, looking between the website, Amazon, stuff like that. He wants to get the metal axles and the metal drive shafts and upgrade it. Well, we found this new seesaw. It's completely metal, and it's one axle, and it's a pivoting. It it's almost like a bobcat kind of. It's a portal axle basically. I'm not sure who sells it, but anyway, he wants me to order that for him. So we'll modify that. It would still be two sets of wheels in the back, but the pivot and the articulation and everything, it's a metal gearing. It really turns it into a crawler. So we had that going for him. Truck runs fine. We've had these for months now. Haven't broken anything, other than my screw ups. So I took the JJRC, and since they had already scavenged parts out of the C14, the radio and stuff, well, the JJRC axles, they sucked. Open diffs. So I took the axles off of my C14, ready to run. Put them under here, put the 180 motor, the gearbox, and from WPL, I placed an order, and I got a winch. I got one of the Res V3 radio systems. You know, and I'm not a genius with the electronics. You know, I can build anything, but it was simple. You know, it's plug and play, and it all worked. So I took the JJRC, and I'm still working on a wooden bed, but I made it, you know, making that old farm rat rod. So I did order the winch. I hooked it up. It was actually quite easy. All I did was drilled through the frame rail into the side of the winch. And for some odd reason, there's my focus. And I just, you know, used two of the little mounting screws. So it's held in by the frame rail. I mean, it's sturdy. It'll pick the truck up. And I wanted a little better lift for it. So I got one of those metal leaf spring lifts off of Amazon. The steering, I did it over the axle for the short shaft, and, you know, still, I went to high steer, so it's still over the axle, or over the knuckles for the drag link. So 180 motor, you know, the axles out of the C14 kit, the B series frame. I painted it up. You know, we painted the interior. So it's got the brown leather seats. We painted the dash. So it's turned out to be a cool truck. And it actually climbs fairly decent. I'm pretty impressed with it. It's missing a drive shaft because, like I said, I haven't broken anything until last night. Cooper spit a drive shaft out of his B16. And it was actually just at the knuckle and the U-joint. So I robbed the parts off of this one to fix his drive shaft. Because I used the whole drive shaft, but it kept slipping apart. Well, then I realized that the actual drive shaft is longer on the B16. So I got an order in for metal, you know, and I'll get the metal drive shafts. So in my Amazon orders, I ordered a kit. Just a C24 kit. Because I wanted the bed and the cap. And what I did is I ordered another C14 ready to run off of Amazon from the same seller. So I got the 180 motor, the digital steer, proportional steering, you know, and I took the bed off of the C14. I put the C24 bed on. I ordered, with my first order, I got the, I forget the nomenclature, but these are the really soft tires that come with the Land Cruiser, the C54. So I got the rims, their foam, the foam inserts, and the all-terrain tires for the C54. So I put that on the ready-to-run kit. And I wanted a lift kit, so I ordered one of those Metal Link kits from Amazon. And I tried their shocks. I wasn't impressed. The WPL shocks work the best. And what I did is, my bank gives out free pens, so I have a pile of them. So they're all matching. I took the 4 springs out of pens. I replaced the springs in the shocks so they're even softer. So that helped. But like I said, I wanted a lift kit. I put the metal suspension on it and the little shocks, coil springs that come with the suspension. They were too stiff. I did not like them at all. So what I did, I took off the bottom links of the metal suspension. I just didn't like it. I moved the shock mount forward and I flipped it over to give me the lift. And I just put the mounting screws for the shocks in there, through the lift bracket. You can see it up there. Now, I did keep the upper metal links since they're adjustable, and that way I could tilt the axle and decrease the pinion angle. So let me set this back down. And you can see under there that the pinion angle isn't as steep. It's still kind of sharp coming out of the transmission, but it works, and it works well. This thing crawls pretty good, and it looks neat. I'm going to clean it up and finish. Got some guys in the group that have been gracious enough. They got 3D printers, so I'm working out some deals, and I'm going to get some accessories. So this is actually going to be a neat little truck. So with my second order from WPL, I ordered another Res V3 radio because my son wanted a winch on his B16. So, yeah, back to the servo thing. In the first order, I ordered the 25G servo. And not knowing any better, well, it doesn't fit in the servo trays for the C series, the C14 or C24. So I'd cut the ears off and JB welded it in there. Ran the truck for about 15 minutes. The servo, it was my fault. It could have been from installation or who knows, but that servo gave out. So I had the spare servo from the parts kit that I had ordered. So I used that. That truck, stayed running. And so that's how everything was running until I got another radio. So when I got the new order, I took the Res V3 radio and receiver board. I put it in the B16 for my son so I could mount the winch. And all I did, the bumper off of the JJRC truck looks identical and fits identical as the WPL bumper on the B16, except it's much softer. So all I did was I notched it right there, squared it off. You can even tell now, so that the winch fit in it. It's got the 2 screws in the bottom. I screwed up through the bottom of the bumper into the winch to hold the winch. And then I ended up putting 2 screws right there through the bumper into the hard plastic of the body. And you can see the winch is actually pretty secure. So, and I liked that it gave me the D-rings so that I could hook the winch to it. So I was able to take the electronics out and put it back into my original C14. So I had the board, but I had taken the axles and and the servo, everything was out of here. This was just a shell. So from the kit, I had the 180 motor, it had the new axles, and the soft tires. So I put that all together. As for the servo, well, I used, since I'd already modified that one tray, I just cut out, I had to use a Dremel and a grinding wheel. I cut out the JB Weld, the old servo, and I just put the new servo in. This time I plugged it in, centered it, checked everything before I did it. So it works much better now. So I have a running truck. So now I'm back up to 4 running trucks. Well, 3.5. This one's only front wheel drive till I get some drive shafts. Oh, steering. When I did the lift, to modify the steering, and you can see it just got ugly and bubbled up, but I heated it up and straightened it out. I used a rubber grommet and one of the metal sleeves for the screw. The metal link kit, they give you bushings, little ball joint kind of deals for the shocks, to mount the shocks. So I used one of those. I switched this over to high steer. I used one of the mounting bolts, M2, M3, I don't know. Put a nut on top so that the link doesn't come up through. But I pushed that bushing into the steering arm, so it made it tighter and it raised it up. So as you can see, the steering's actually tight. The wobble and play you get is, just in the plastic axles yet, because they haven't upgraded to full metal. But it handles really well. Same thing, I used one of those links to better mount and take up the slop in the drag link on the C14 kit, or Ready to Run. Same thing with the B series. I switched it over to the high steer and just put a longer bolt through to raise it up so that it fit over the leaf spring. And these leaf springs do work pretty good. It flexes okay, but it does crawl really nice. And I like the look and the stance that it has. I'm tempted to take the shackles out, but then it will not flex at all. And it loses a lot of crawling. Oh, and the other thing I did with the Ready to Run tires is I went through with an X-Acto knife and I cut out all the blocks so you just have a mud tire where it grips. And these tires, even for Ready to Runs, they're dirty, but you can see the blocks gone. You have the lip of the mud tires. And it crawls really good. Those tires really catch. I thought about, before I mount the soft tires from the kit, if I should notch them. But then yesterday, watching it crawl, giving my test run in the backyard, it was pretty amazing. So those tires work well. In my previous video, I said I wasn't real sure about these all-terrains. Well, they work great. The problem was the suspension was too stiff, it wasn't working, and it wasn't allowing the tires to do their job. So please disregard that. The tires work really well. So, Cooper's B16, it climbs amazing. It goes through the sand, it goes through tall grass, it'll climb the rock obstacles that we have. So that's the modifications that I've done and how everything works. So it started with the red C14 kit. We had the JJRC transporter, the WPL B16, and another ready-to-run C14, which I used the kit to modify. So this is my collection. We're having a ton of fun. We're going to get some parts for these, and then we're going to be on to the next project. I want to do one more C14 kit. Or not C14, I'm sorry, C24 kit. I'm definitely going to do the metal kit. I want to try the 2-speed axle. And then I really want to do the C34. I want to do one of the Toyotas. I think just for shits and grins, I might get one of the D12s. But I definitely want to get one of the Pinecone drift cars. Or maybe a few of them, so me and my boys can race. There's a skate park down the road. That would make a nice little track for us. And we're coming into nice weather. It's been pretty rainy here. We had really nice, 70-degree weather. And then it's dropped down into the 40s and 50s again for a couple weeks with some rain. So when it dries out, we're actually going to build a nice off-road course, a climbing course. Then hell, we might have people over. $5, come play all day. I'll set up a table and chargers and, just rent out an RC track for a while. So there's a lot more to come. We're going to have fun with this. I've been having a lot of fun with this. And once again, I'm just really impressed with WPL and their support, their product. And I'm really enjoying this. So, thank you guys. See you later.